They call it the most haunted house in all of Australia, the Monte Cristo Homestead, an elegant Victorian mansion sitting on a lonely hill in Junee, New South Wales. To look at it from a distance with its iron lacework balconies and grand facade, you might think it was a relic of pride and wealth. But step closer and the air changes. The grass seems brittle, the windows dark and watchful, and the house itself breathes. Locals whisper that every brick of Monte Cristo is cemented with death. The story begins in 1885, when a man named Christopher Crawley struck fortune with farmland. With his newfound wealth, he built Monte Cristo, a symbol of success. It should have been a house of triumph. Instead, it became a tomb. Crawley died in 1910, and his widow, Elizabeth, withdrew into the mansion. She rarely stepped outside again. For 23 years, she roamed the halls dressed in black, a ghost before she was even dead. When she finally passed, the house did not let her go. Visitors swear they see her wandering in white, gliding silently across rooms, watching with eyes that no longer blink. But Elizabeth is only one of the shadows inside Monte Cristo. The house remembers every death, every scream, and it tells them over and over again to anyone who dares to enter. One story speaks of a maid. Some say she was pushed, others say she leapt. Either way, she fell from the upstairs balcony to the stone courtyard below. People passing the house at night swear they see her falling again, over and over, her body collapsing in silence before vanishing into the dirt. If you stand on the balcony yourself, some claim an unseen force tugs at your back, urging you to follow her into the void. Then there is the stable boy, a teenager full of life who worked with the horses. One evening, the caretaker snapped. He locked the boy inside the stables and set them ablaze. The flames swallowed him whole. His screams echoed through the valley, and some say they never stopped. To this day, those who step near the old stables report the smell of burning flesh, the sound of crackling fire, and the unearthly wails of a child begging for help. As if that were not enough, the walls also remember the baby. An infant dropped down the stairs by the family's nanny. She swore it wasn't her. She swore something unnatural took hold of her hands, forcing her to release the child. The baby's cries stopped instantly, and the silence has lingered in that stairwell ever since. Even now, guests who climb those steps feel a sudden weight in their arms, as though they are cradling something invisible. Some hear a faint cry in their ear. Some say they feel the sickening lurch of fingers losing grip. The house grew darker as the decades passed. When the Crawleys were gone, Monte Cristo decayed, but the dead never left. In the 1960s, new owners moved in, determined to restore the place. The Ryan family thought they had bought a piece of history. What they got was a lifetime of terror. On their first night inside, they left the house briefly, only to return and find every light ablaze. Though no electricity was connected, it only grew worse. Chains rattled through empty corridors. Phantom footsteps climbed the staircase at midnight. Visitors were scratched, shoved, even pinned to the ground by unseen hands. The Ryans reported a constant sense of being watched, as if dozens of eyes hid in the walls. Guests would wake to find a shadow standing over their bed, waiting. And sometimes, when they dared to turn on the light, the shadow would remain. The most chilling reports come from the drawing room. Those who sit inside describe a suffocating pressure, as though the house itself is pushing down on their chest. The air grows icy and their breath turns white. Then comes the whisper, soft, close, unmistakably human. A whisper that knows your name. Monte Cristo does not rely on silence alone. It shows itself. A woman in period clothing drifts across the landing, fading through walls. The burned boy's face appears in mirrors. A dark figure sits at the end of the bed, waiting until the sleeper wakes and it vanishes. In the stables, some have been thrown to the ground by an invisible force, and in the stairwell, people claim to see the ghost of the nanny herself, her eyes hollow, her lips trembling as though repeating her old excuse. "It wasn't me." Skeptics dismiss it all. They call it exaggeration, folklore meant to feed the tourist trade. But try telling that to those who spend the night. One woman woke to find deep scratches running across her back. Another man collapsed on the second floor after hearing chains clatter behind him, though no chains were ever found. Paranormal investigators have brought cameras and recorders, only for their equipment to fail, batteries drained in minutes. Some left with footage, strange orbs, shadows darting, voices whispering through static. One recording captured a cry so sharp, so raw, that even hardened ghost hunters refuse to sleep in the house again. Even animals sense it. Dogs will not cross the threshold, horses shy away from the stables, nostrils flaring as if they smell the fire still burning. Birds circle but will not land on the roof. It is as though nature itself refuses to touch Monte Cristo. And yet the house endures. Restored and polished, it stands proudly on its hill, drawing visitors from across the world. They come curious, skeptical, or daring. Many leave laughing, untouched. But others leave pale, shaken, unable to speak of what they saw. Because Monte Cristo is not a house filled with stories, it is a house that tells its stories itself, in screams, in shadows, in sudden cold hands against your skin. Those who walk through its doors say it feels alive, and if you listen closely enough, you will hear it breathing with you, matching your rhythm, until you are not sure if it is the house or your own chest rising and falling. That is when it knows you. That is when it begins. The Monte Cristo Homestead, elegant, timeless, and utterly cursed. Step inside if you dare. But remember, some doors close behind you, and some whispers never let go.